All right, you guys have been asking for the tea, and I will deliver. So I posted a short recently, and it was talking about how I worked an internship in Walt Disney World. And a lot of people were fascinated about my time working there. So I will go ahead and tell you a story. I have a lot of really dark and crazy stuff that happened to me there, but for the sake of this video, I'll just try to keep it lighthearted, but still a weird experience that I had. So before we start the story, for some background really quickly, I participated in a 6-month Disney World internship, where essentially they look at your resume and they kind of just pop you somewhere to work in any of the 4 parks, including the resorts. So you could be placed at the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and any of the 32 resorts that they had. So I, in particular, was placed at the Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland at the second busiest quick service restaurant in the entire world. Not just the entire Disney World, the entire world, okay? And the staff would not let us forget that. They were be on top of things because our reputation is in your hands. This is all on you, babe. We gotta do good here, okay? Yeah, I worked at Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe. And if you haven't been to Disney World, it's essentially the Chuck E. Cheese of Disney World. That's what it is. It's very generic. We got burgers, we got fries, we got chicken. All overpriced, the magical Disney way. So my role at Cosmic Ray's was everything. I started off working at the counter, so I would hand people their food and call out orders. And then I moved over to the dining room, where I just basically waited tables and wiped down stuff and picked up way too many dirty diapers and dealt with code V's, and it was just a very unpleasant experience in the dining room. One of my coworkers said that he would rather stab his leg and twist it 7 times than work a dining room shift, and yeah, I get it. My dining room shifts were usually 15 hours of just standing there wiping tables. They were miserable. And then finally, I was trained in the kitchen, which it was very hot, but it actually wasn't that bad because I didn't have to deal with guests. But there you go. Okay, so the story time that we're going to be talking about today is basically, if you don't know much about Disney, the work ethic around there is keeping people immersed. So I was working in Tomorrowland, and in Tomorrowland, we're considered space rangers, and we have a very specific costume that we have to wear. And when we're in costume, we're not allowed to leave Tomorrowland. So we're stuck in a perimeter. We are taught on training the lines that we cannot cross. So if I were to go into Fantasyland, I would get in big trouble, okay, if I was on shift. However, they have these holiday parties. There's a Christmas party and a Halloween party, and I was there during all the holiday seasons. And I got to work a ton of the Christmas parties. And when you're working a holiday party, there's actually a universal costume. For Christmas, it's this low-key ugly candy cane dress. But when you're wearing those costumes, they're universal, so you can go anywhere in the park. Of course, you're on shift, so you can't leave your position. Unless, of course, you have an excuse to leave your position. So we had an item brought to us from one guest that was lost by another. And the procedure that happens when a guest loses an item is we have to bring it to a place called City Hall, located on Main Street. And on a normal work shift, you would have to go through the utilidors, so the underground of Disney World, to get to City Hall, and it's a long, annoying walk to City Hall, and I would get lost in those tunnels very often. However, like I said, we're wearing the universal Christmas party dress, so we were able to go on stage to get to City Hall. And remember, this is a Christmas party, so there's a Christmas parade happening, there's fireworks, everything is happy and fun, and while I'm walking to City Hall with this lost and found item, I stop and I watch the parade on shift. It was the end of the party. It was probably 12 a.m. in the morning. And I stopped and I watched the parade, okay? I stopped off at City Hall, dropped off the item, and decided to go underground instead of on stage like I did prior to get back to my position. Now here's where it actually gets interesting. On the way back to the restaurant Cosmic Ray's from underground, I was stopped by the parade. Because as the parade was finishing up, the entire parade goes backstage where we are. So each flow and all the performers and dancers, they're all coming backstage where I am. And there's this entire thing, obviously, like I mentioned prior, that Disney is very focused on immersion. So I couldn't pass because the guests would be able to see me through the sight lines. So I had to sit and wait for the entire parade to be able to get back to work. And I got to watch the entire parade from backstage, which is interesting by itself. However, I'm watching it from backstage, so I'm also watching everyone get out of their costumes. And let me tell you, it is the craziest thing ever. Like, it's so weird. I'm not even like a, ooh, the magic, woo, magic Disney. Like, I'm not like that, especially after I worked there. But like, it was so strange seeing Santa Claus and like all the princesses and the princes and reindeer mascots and stuff. They would come backstage and immediately just like take off their character costume heads, and like the reindeers were stripping. It was just a very weird experience. And that entire area backstage, it felt like I was on a movie set. There was a bunch of staff people, and there was food and drinks, and like they were all just chatting and like sitting in trucks. And like, keep in mind, this is like the backstage of Disney World. This is just happening while people are in the park. And it's just so weird to me that there's this entire world back there. And I got to watch the entire parade and the entire ending of the parade. All the princes genuinely looked like they hated their lives. Like, I'm gonna be honest here. Like, they look so annoyed. I must say, Flynn Rider, though, if you know, you know. You know? The princesses were gorgeous, though, and they were literally treated like movie stars. Like, I kid you not, there was a popular kids table in the underground world of Disney World. And it was just filled with Disney princesses, like genuinely. It was just such a weird experience. So anyways, yeah, that's the story of how I got to watch an entire parade from backstage and watch all of the characters take off their clothes. So, if you're interested in that, work at Disney World. Or maybe not. Maybe don't work at Disney World. It's not worth it.